owners need to do so they can best position themselves to be recipients of this estimated $2 trillion bill?
Well, I think it's pretty straightforward right now. We are in an age of we're either going to return to earmarks or we're going to return to pseudo earmarks. And the best way to communicate with Congress is to communicate through specific project requests, whether you get those projects approved or not. First of all, if they're good projects, there's a good chance you're going to get them approved. So they'll become priorities. But the second thing is you're really educating the Congress, especially right now. And let's be very, very clear. The level of thinking about infrastructure, we're infrastructure professionals, right? That's what we do. We spend our time thinking about projects and how to get this stuff done. Think about, let's say your mind, let's say you're not over invested in infrastructure, but you're an infrastructure professional. So 50% of your time is spent thinking about infrastructure. How much of a congressman's time is spent thinking about infrastructure? Maybe 0.001%. So you don't really want to overwhelm this group of people with subtleties. You want to overwhelm them with, if we don't get this thing, it's going to be collapse, and that's going to be a problem for you. And I think that kind of, because what happens is we tend to be respectful, but what you really want to do is let them connect the dots as they hear from all sorts of people about what this country needs in terms of priority. And I understand, I'm sure people are going, yeah, I can't exactly do that because I have a boss and the boss has a boss and we're not allowed to communicate directly. But I would say two things. One of them is Congress needs to do a much better job of creating channels to listen to people about infrastructure projects, and there are none right now. I mean, one of the good things, I suppose, about the year-long lockdown is I can Zoom all over the country to chambers of commerce, farmers groups, whatever, all the time. And the one constant is nobody listens to us, and there's no way for us to get our voice across. That's a big problem, and that's a vacuum that everybody is in the middle of right now. And almost, Dan, going back to one of the things that you said, I'm a big fan of state infrastructure banks, because I think what happens with an entity like that right now is that we're all siloed. I talk to my friends at the Department of Transportation here or someplace else, Department of Energy. Where does an electric vehicle sit, right? Does it sit in transportation? Does it sit in the Department of Energy? How do you get that approved? You have to go all the way up to the Secretary of Transportation and the Secretary of Energy, get them to talk so that you can have a joint research project. How long does that take? And if you were to create robust state infrastructure banks, again, this is a moment of dramatic change. State infrastructure banks that could bring in pension fund money, perhaps, that could fund feasibility studies, that could help to provide expertise, that could bring in technologists to give people a sense of how they could increase the performance of their jobs, increase the transparency in terms of what's going on. Do that without violating all the wonderful procurement rules that we've built up, so that DOTs around the country don't have free access to the kind of information that the private sector people have. I mean, this is a time where creating effective institutions, all of us working together, is absolutely critical. That's what happens when you go through such a giant industrial change as we're going through right now. And a lot of the uncertainty around everything is because everything is moving. The forces that were pretty well set for the last 50, 60, 70, 80 years aren't set anymore.